Hello. I've always found for geometry or angle relationships, it's a lot easier to work with it when you have visuals to work off of rather than just tables. So let's start over on the right hand side here. These two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, you'll see they both are on a line there, right? Those two angles, because they both together make a line by definition is 180 degrees. So those two angles together are 180 degrees, or they're called supplementary angles. Okay, down below there, you can see angles alpha and beta. There's alpha, or sorry, not beta, there's theta. Those two angles together make 90 degrees, and as a result, those are called complementary angles. So those are kind of two that work off to the side, and they're the basis of almost everything else. Going back to the left here now, we have the typical arrangement with two parallel lines and a transversal between them. And you can use this to find all kinds of other different angle relationships. The first one, and probably the most basic, is the opposite angles, or known as vertical angles. Example, A and D are opposite or vertical angles. Those angles are always going to be congruent. Sorry, I'm working on a new tablet, so my writing isn't quite where I want it to be. Okay, opposite angles. Additionally, B and C, you can see, are also opposite angles. They're always going to be congruent as well. So the two angles there are opposite and equal to each other. Another angle relationship is what they call the alternate interior angles. So if you look for a big Z like this, angle C is congruent to angle F, because those are alternate interior angles. Okay? Similarly, now with those two types of relationships, you can find all the other angles. But there is another one that is pretty handy, is also called corresponding angles. So angle D, for instance, here is in the same position in the intersection as angle H. Both of them are to the southeast of the intersection. And when you have corresponding angles like that, angle H is also going to be congruent to angle D. Okay? You'll also notice in here that there's a lot of useful things for supplementary angles. So, for instance, A and B are supplementary. So an example sort of problem for this might be something that's on the order of, if A equals 35 degrees, find the rest of the angles. Let's make that 135 so it looks at least reasonably like what's there. A and B are supplementary, so you can say for that B equals 180 minus 135. Okay. You can say that A and E are equal to each other because they're corresponding angles. You can say that A and D are equal to each other because they're vertical angles. You can say that C and B are equal to each other because they're vertical angles. And now that I know that E is 135 just like A, I can figure out H, I can figure out G because it's supplementary to E, and I can figure out F. And that's the basic relationship between all the angles that come into play.